Yesterday, I did a Photoshop video where I demonstrated a technique that many lifestyle photographers are doing today. That technique involves adding a color tint to the image. After that video posted, I was asked, can you do that in Lightroom? And the answer is, yes, you can. Today, there are several prominent lifestyle photographers that have a style where they're, for lack of a better word, colorizing or adding a bit of a color as an overlay to their images. Yesterday, I did a Photoshop video where I demonstrated how to achieve that look using layers and blend modes. And it's actually very, very easy to do in Photoshop. Well, within minutes of that video posting, someone emailed me asking me if you could do the same thing in Lightroom. Well, you can't do the exact same thing in Lightroom because Lightroom doesn't have blend modes and layers. But if you knew some of the tricks that I've taught in previous videos, you could simulate pretty much the exact same thing. And in some ways, it's more versatile in Lightroom. Now, we're going to demonstrate on the same images I used in yesterday's Photoshop video, and we started out with this photo of the little girl. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, especially some of the recent Lightroom videos I've done, where I've demonstrated some different techniques and tricks you could use with a graduated filter, then you'll know how to do this. Now, if you have it, I'm going to start from the beginning. As you know, a graduated filter is this tool over here in the far right in the tool well, or in the middle of the tool well. And typically, it's used so you could affect part of the image. Well, there is a way you could apply it where it will affect the entire image evenly. And to demonstrate it, I'm going to go over to this left-hand panel, and I'm going to go to 1 to 8, just so I could temporarily make the image smaller so you could see what I'm talking about. Now, normally, to apply the graduated filter, you would go somewhere in the middle of the image and click and drag down or push up. To have it so it affects every pixel in the image equally, go outside or just inside any of the 4 corners. It doesn't matter which corner you use. I'm just going to, for this demonstration, go in the bottom left-hand corner. And I'm actually going to even come off the image a little bit. I'm going to click down with the left mouse button and drag down. That right now, this graduated filter is off the image, but it is the part that is where every pixel is being affected above the top line is the entire image. So anything I do over here with the controls for the graduated filter or the adjustments for the graduated filter will affect every single pixel. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to go to fit. And you can see that graduated filter is on there. It's off the screen over here. Now, there's a couple different ways you could go about doing this, and it's real versatile and real easy to adjust it on the fly. To start off with, I suggest you have exposure either at like -1 stop or +1 stop. It doesn't matter. Just have it somewhere in those ranges. Then go down to this color area down here. Click on this little swatch at the far right, and you'll see a color picker comes up. Now we could colorize our graduated filter, and since our graduated filter is affecting every single pixel, whatever color we use is going to affect every single pixel. Now, one thing about the color picker that's in Lightroom, I'm going to give you some information to help you better use this color picker. It's in degrees of view. And at the very far left is 0 degrees of view. And if you're in the top left-hand corner, you're at red. Red is 0 degrees. And as you move through the colors, you start moving to the right, around 30 degrees is orange. Around 60 degrees is yellow. Around 120 degrees is green. Around, you start jumping through, 240 degrees is blue. 270 degrees is purple. Then you keep moving through, around 330 degrees is like scarlet. And then when you get over in the top right-hand corner again, you're back to 0 degrees, really red. So this is kind of like a cylinder that's been laid out flat. So like a toilet paper roll that's been cut down the side and laid out flat. So you could see how we could go across the colors. So you could just pick a color. So if you want like an orange color, you could pick over in here somewhere, and then you get that orange color. And that's how we mentioned before in our previous video on Photoshop. A lot of lifestyle photographers today are giving their images this kind of color, kind of overlay. Now, you could change the saturation of this color. We're at 32. 32 is basically orange. If you go over here, we could pull it down, and we're changing the saturation of the orange. So you could affect it that way. You could also experiment with the actual sliders that are in the graduated filter. So we're at 0.99 stops. So we're adding exposure. What if we took some exposure away and went the other way? So you get an entirely different look. So you could come in and you could move around the shadows, the highlights, and so on. You could come back down to our color swatch and maybe increase the saturation a little bit. But again, this is very easy to do in Lightroom, and arguably it's a little more versatile, because you could come in and change different sliders to get a specific effect. You also could go down where the range mask is, click on that, and luminance usually works best. You could click on luminance, and if you remember this image, I'm going to turn this off. It's brighter back on the left hand, top left hand, like third of the image. It's a lot brighter over here than it is down here. So if we turn this back on and we take our luminance range and move it this way, you're going to see that we're going to start to restrict our color to the brighter part on the left. Conversely, we could go the other way if we wanted to and restrict it to this part on the right. You could show the luminance mask there. You could see where it's red is where it's being affecting the image most. So we could come back and flip it all around. Now it's affecting every pixel equally. And I could come back over here and just do the brighter pixels. Turn off that luminance mask to give you an idea. So it is, in my opinion, in some ways it's better in Lightroom. You have a little more control where you're putting it and how you're applying it. You still could choose any color you want. There's no blend mode, so you can't blend it in any specific way, but you can mess around with the sliders and try to get a certain type of look that you'd like to have. So let's try another one. Let's try another image. Let's try this one. Again, I'm doing the same images I had last time. And again, we have the graduated filter. I have exposure at minus 0.79 right now. I'm going to go off the image to the top left. Hopefully you can see it up there. Clicking with left mouse button, drag it up. Okay, so our graduated filter is on there. It's on in such a way that it's affecting every single pixel. I'll click on the color swatch. Again, you could dial in a degrees of view. I mentioned, like, let's say we wanted blue. Blue is 240. So you could type in 240, get that blue hue. You could turn saturation up. So it's kind of giving us a weird, weird look. But again, you could come in and just do anything you want. Usually I don't know, it depends, like somewhere in the orange-yellow range, but so that would be between 30 and 60 degrees, somewhere in there. So you could just get the look you want. Another thing I'd like to show you, if you find that you're often using the same color all the time. For example, let's say that we always use this color right there. Like, maybe that's a little too intense for this image. Right there. We're always using a hue of 29 degrees with a saturation of 61%. We're always doing that. You'll notice along the top here we have presets. Right now I have the presets set up like custom for me. I have red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. You could change these. You could put any preset you want. Over to the right, we have clear. This will just clear the colors so there's no color at all. And we have the last color used over here. So this color is right here. But let's say we want this color to be in one of the presets, so it's always there. Super easy to do. Let's put it in the far right where blue is now. I'm going to put this color right there. To do it, just put your eyedropper over that preset color, click with the left mouse button and hold, and it will turn into that preset. Now every time, now I could go to red, that orange is close, right? Yellow, green. Now here's our preset. Bam, exactly right there. So we could get that same preset every single time. And then I could come in and I could mess around and try to better apply this color overlay that we're applying to our image. And, you know, I say, you know, practice with these sliders, see if you come up with something that works for you. I suspect every image would be a little bit different. It's not going to be the same for every image. Let's do another one. We did this one yesterday as well. I'm again going to go in the top left-hand corner, just off the image, click with the left mouse button, drag out. I have it at minus 0.79. That's fine, it doesn't matter. We'll go to the color swatch. We'll pick somewhere around the orange color. Right there, that's got a lot of saturation. We could pull saturation down, push it up. Whatever works for the image you're working on. We could then go to the range mask again, go to the luminance, pull it so it's more in the highlights. So again, you have a lot of control and a lot of options using or doing this method in Lightroom. This is another one we did yesterday. Come off the image again, click with left mouse button, drag out. Click on the color. We want a warmer tone, like a reddish orange, yellow, more yellow maybe, I don't know. Like it's just a sunset, something like that. We could take the saturation down. And again, you could come in and try moving the sliders and see if you could better adjust the image to your liking. There's before and there's after. So you could see it has a quite profound effect on your image when you do this method. And we did this one yesterday. And remember yesterday I specifically did this image because I masked out the effect on her teeth and on her eyes. Well, this is where Lightroom might cause a problem because there really is no masking like that. I mean, we could use the luminance mask and take it away from the highlights, which would be her eye white and her teeth, but it's going to affect the mortar as well. But let's see if we could figure something out to make this one work. So we're going to bring exposure down a little more. We'll go up in this top left-hand corner again, click, drag out, go to the color. Let's do a nice orange color again. Like around 30 degrees is orange. We'll take the saturation down quite a bit. Now on this one, I'll experiment with the exposure sliders. We could go up, we go down. I kind of like it a little higher for this image, meaning exposure turned up a little bit on this image better than down. But for the demonstration, why don't I leave it like this, okay? So we have exposure at minus 0.6, and we have this color as a orange that isn't saturated that much. Well, what could we do to take away the adjustment from her eyes and teeth? Well, go to the brush, click right there. We're going to go to the erase brush. We'll get a brush that's just big enough for her eyes, and we'll paint in here. You can see you could do it in Lightroom as well. We'll come to her teeth. So we're taking away that orange color I put over the top from her teeth and eyes. Now I'm doing a horrible job on her teeth and her eyes for that matter, but that gives you an idea how you could get the orange out. Very easy. I mean, super easy, really, when you think about it. Want to do one more? This is a fall color. I mentioned yesterday that this effect, or a fall image, I mentioned yesterday that this effect works really well for fall type images. So again, we'll go to the graduated filter. We'll go just off the image to the top left. Click with the left mouse button and drag out. We're now affecting every single pixel. We'll go here again. I'm kind of picking on orange a lot. You can pick any color you want. I don't know if I stressed that enough yesterday. I mean, you want to go to purple or a magenta. I mean, feel free. Whatever works for you. But the original question I received about the technique concerning Photoshop, the person told me they really liked this orange type look that was achieved by many of these lifestyle photographers. And that's why I'm kind of fixated on orange. Anyway, we'll go to the saturation. Maybe bring saturation down. And let's see what this looks like. There's before and there's after. We could go to the range mask, go to luminance, and maybe just relegate it more towards the highlights. So it's very easy to do and super fast. And I don't know, do you guys want to do one more? I did this one yesterday. This was probably the worst one because I picked this one on purpose because there's a lot of fashion photography that uses this method, and it kind of is a weird look, different, but it is used quite often in fashion photography. And this, not necessarily a fashion shot, but it's the same type of idea with just a person with clothing outside, So, not a lot of different elements in the shot, just mainly the person. Everything else is blurred out. So we're going to, again, go open up the graduated filter, go just off the image, click with the left mouse button and drag out. All right. We'll go down to the color. We'll fixate on orange again. So there's our orange look. We could affect the saturation a little bit. So there's before, after. In this case here, it seems to be giving her kind of a tan. Maybe in this case, maybe something more towards a blue might work a little better. That's kind of cool, I think. A little different. Before or after. You could, try to make, change the whole mood of the portrait if you move exposure up. Whatever works. So that's it. The question I received, as I mentioned, within minutes of that video posting yesterday is, can you do this effect in Lightroom? The answer to me is yes. Even though it's slightly different, there really isn't a blend mode involved. And the blend mode does give that look, or that overlay color, a distinctive look. You can imitate it pretty closely with the sliders that are in the graduated filter in Lightroom. Thank you, everyone that watches my videos. I truly do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.